Here we go. So, as many of you know, I have a goal. I call my hashtag 40 before 40. And for those of you who don't know what this goal is, it's I'm trying to travel 40 countries before I turn 40. So currently, I have been to 30 countries, and I have a little over 2 years to reach the other 10. So I've been to at least one country in every continent except Antarctica. I've traveled with family, I've traveled with friends, I've traveled with students, and I've also traveled solo. So I have a couple rules as well when I travel. One of those rules is to try everything at least once. For example, I had silkworm in China. It tastes like marshmallows and dirt. And every once in a while, I try to get lost, either to, hopefully discover a treasure or just get that aha moment. So you're probably wondering how this all ties in to my Læringsberetning. Traveling to 30 countries, there's one thing that remains constant. It doesn't matter where I go or how long I'm going to be there or whatever the purpose of my trip is. I always have the same thing, and that thing is my packing list. So if I could share with you the 4 things that I always pack when I go on an adventure, when I travel. First one, passport. So it's amazing how this little book defines a person. It's a form of identification that states your physical features, but then it also has identifies abstract things like your nationality or the permission to travel from country to country. So when I was thinking about leaps, I find that we have been trying to craft our own passport and in turn develop our own identity of what it means to be a leap school. Ortiguerra and Sønderskov-Skolen have been working hard to develop this. But just like we age and go through physical changes like puberty or gray hair, leaps has gone through its own changes as well. For example, some of us recently learned that there's actual names to the 6 parts of a project. For others, we've barely learned this thing called deeper learning. And I know that even some of you from the first implementation group have seen multiple iterations and drafts of the planning tools. So we might be at different places and stages of this growth, but we've got to remember, just like our students, we're all growing and evolving together. Another part of our identity is developing those abstract things like nationality and the permission to travel. We can't forget leaps is Danish. And we can't forget that it's the only place in the world right now, here in Denmark. The more we develop and get better at this thing that we call leaps, we earn that permission to travel. Travel around Denmark. We have 4 schools, and hopefully in the future, somewhere around 10 or more. And even travel around the world. So yes, Sønderskov-Skolen has a unique task. A task that no one else can do or repeat, because we're the first school in the world to do this transformative work. I remember a couple months ago, we had some visitors taking a look at the school, and what was interesting about that group, there was this buzz around one of the people in that group, and that person was Louisa Klinger. And everyone's like, oh, where is she? But what was even more interesting was that there was another person in that group who happened to be from the Rudesta municipality. And what was interesting about her is that she actually visited Sønderskov a year ago. And so at the end of her visit, I asked her, what's your reflection? What do you think? And she said, wow, it's only been 1 year since I've been here, but so much has changed. Not only can I see the change happening at the school, I can feel it. So as we gain that permission to travel, I can't help to think about the things that you will do to continue this work. Next thing on my list, travel books and maps and GPSs. I put these things together because I think I need them for when I travel. The guidebook and the map, they're great for traveling, as it gives me a sense of what to look for, the sights to see, and the milestones to look to be reference points. The maps and the guidebooks are also based on people's past experiences. So I know I can trust, at least in some part, that they're trying to share with me some of the best things from their trip. And for the adventurous side of me, knowing that I have GPS on my phone gives me the flexibility if I want to change my plans or try something new, or if I get lost or something unexpected comes up, I can always just go on my GPS and find my way back home. So when thinking about leaps and Sønderskov-Skolen, I think we've got to remind ourselves that this is a journey, a long one, a 10-year journey, a transformative journey. A lot of you in the course have asked me, how is it that High Tech High is so successful in the last 18 years? And I think I've mentioned, well, one, we've had 18 years to mess up and make it better. And two, we got to start from the ground up. Over at High Tech High, we were developing while implementing, but we got to start from scratch. We've got a different challenge here. Not only are we trying to develop and implement, but we are also transforming. There have definitely been setbacks and unexpected challenges, like this hiring freeze. But what I've learned about the school is that there is a resilience that shows in the face of these setbacks. And in the end, we remember that the goal has and always will be the same: providing a meaningful educational experience for all of our children. One thing I don't think I've shared out loud to you is, to you teachers, is that you all kick ass. I've been lucky and blessed to observe over 25 classrooms in my time here. And you guys are truly doing the work that is hard, transformative, and meaningful for our children. One story I've got to share. A couple weeks ago, I was in Ida's classroom in grade 0, observing her during a lesson. And the children were singing, they were playing, and they were just having fun. And it took me a while to realize that she was actually doing a LEAPS protocol. I told her, wow, I didn't realize you took the protocol and turned it into a game. And then she reminded me, well, isn't that what we should be doing? If students can play and have fun while they're learning, they'll remember it more. So thank you for that reminder, as it reminds me that when I go back to the classroom next year, that even with my 8th graders, I've got to find time to play. We can have all the maps and tools and protocols to help guide us, but we've got to remember that we've got to be willing to go on this journey and travel. Having the LEAPS role is a great way for you to have that roadmap and stay on track, but nothing will come of it if you don't set out on this journey and enjoy the ups and downs of transformation work. Third thing I always pack, converters and power packs. I'm a tech guy, right? I always will have my phone and I will always have my battery pack and probably 2 or 3 other tech-related things. These converters, I probably own about 10 of them from all over the world, and I probably will still continue to collect them. Oliasom, jeg har brug for en converter. Til andre stormen har jeg brug for sprog, for at kunne kommunikere med andre, og det minder mig om, at dansk er et meget svært sprog. Hvad skal jeg gå med en valg, og hvor? Eller hvad sker der med bogstavet D i slutningen af året? Og den næste grund til, at jeg lærte, var lidt udgår, er fordi det er i året for uld. Endelig er min største erfaring om dansk, at hvis du bruger ordet morgen ind i København. Vil det så på dig underligt? And speaking of power packs, I think I figured out the secret to why Danes are the most happy people in the world. Coffee. The last thing on my list, clothes. Right? Clothing is an important part of packing for your trip, and packing the right clothes will ensure that you're comfortable, and at the same time you've got to make sure you don't pack too much because you've got to carry it around. Up until I moved to Denmark, I never owned a pair of winter boots. And why? And I think I packed 1 too many pairs of shorts. I packed 10. So now I've grown to love long underwear and wool socks. So when we're talking about clothes, one of the interesting things that I found coming here to Sønderskov was kind of how relaxed the dress code was. I come from a place where all the males are required to wear a collared shirt, jeans or slacks, some shoes, nice shoes, and it was kind of weird for me seeing, trainers, running shoes, sometimes joggers, and t-shirts on the teachers, and not making any commentary here, but I did ask the teachers, like, how do you teach, wearing those things? And a lot of them said to me, well, I'm comfortable. And number 2, they said, well, you got to remember that these clothes don't define who I am as a teacher. So from these observations and some others, I've learned a lot about myself, especially about the roles that we wear, just like the clothes that we wear, and the things that we put on to fulfill those roles. First and foremost, if you knew me back in San Diego, one of the roles or one of the characteristics that you would know about me is that I'm the busy guy. Okay, my life was high-tech high and volleyball. I get up at 5 in the morning, get in my truck, sit in traffic, teach, go to meetings, somewhere get food, go to volleyball practice, and then be home by 11 at night. And do it all over again, day to day. Sometimes I'd spend up to 3 hours sitting in my truck in traffic a day. And Burger King and the taco shops were my dinner places. And even then, there's sometimes that I don't even eat in the restaurant. I get it for takeaway and eat as I'm driving to my next thing. But being here in Sønderborg, now I believe and I know that there's such thing as work-life balance. I can actually have a full night's sleep. I can bike. I can even walk to work. Cooking at home isn't a once-in-a-while thing for me. It was an every night thing for me. I could sit at home. I could read a book. What a concept. I could work on my bike. And I really do now understand the meaning of hygge. Work-life balance is a real thing. And I've been able to live it for the last couple of months. In fact, my best friend asked me, now that you've experienced what a balanced work-life balance day feels like, what's going to make sure that you continue to do that when you come back to the U.S.? And to be honest, I don't know. It's just something that I really got to think about, but this experience definitely is going to be sticking with me when I return. Another role that I've been able to develop is mentor. At first, I was worried that the teachers, you guys, would see me as the American guy coming in to teach his own way, but I've been able to fit in and listen to the strengths and challenges that you have and turn those into inspirations for growth. For example, the parent work that Gita and Birgit are working on, or the exhibition work and how do we exhibit student work with a lot of the teams that I've been working on the last couple weeks. I know that I've always been a mentor for my students, and it's now great to see that I can carry on that role to my colleagues. So this last thing isn't really on my packing list, but it's something that I do when I travel. You know, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. But to me, it's really about the experiences behind those pictures are what's most important. I've been able to experience a different culture, make friends, grow as an educator, and most importantly, live my life. Pictures are kind of a mirror, and at the same time, a time machine. They allow you to take a look at yourself at different points in your life. And because of that work-life balance, I've had a lot of time to sit and reflect and be able to think about these things or these learnings that I'm going to take home with me as a professional. Number one, change is hard. Number two, I have more roles than just being a teacher. And number three, I'm ready to be a school leader. The last one's especially exciting for me, as I'll have an opportunity to be a part-time dean in San Diego when I return. However, I wouldn't have had the confidence or experience in a leadership role without my time here at Sønderskov-Skolen. Having one-on-one meetings with Meta, sitting in on board meetings, sitting in on Leaps role meetings, and even having the role as your course teacher. All of those have prepared me for this role of dean that hasn't even happened at the school yet. So it's exciting and scary at the same time, but I think I'm ready for it. So to finish off, I have my final question for you. What's your journey going to look like? You've got to remember not to forget your passport and the fact that you're constantly developing your identity as a Leap School. Continue to create that map and guidebook, and don't be afraid to go off course a little bit. Remember, it's a long journey. Bring those converters along, and don't forget to share your story no matter where you go, and probably over a cup of coffee. Pack the right clothes for your journey so that you'll have those multiple outfits for the different roles that you'll put on. And lastly, take pictures. Lots and lots of pictures. They'll help you see where you've been, what you're doing now, and hopefully project what you're going to do in the future. Thank you.